Straight ahead on CCX News, a child pornography investigation. A student at Wayzata High School is now charged with 13 felony counts. Plus, tainted Halloween candy. Crystal police receive at least 2 reports of sharp objects found in trick-or-treat bags. But first, officers cleared. Crystal police officers who fired shots at a young man in a park will not be charged. CCX News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. 4 Crystal police officers will not be charged in the non-fatal shooting of a teenager back in May.
The report from the Hennepin County Attorney's Office says the 18-year-old called police to lure them to Bassett Creek Park, where he waited with a BB gun painted to look like a handgun. A reporter Shannon Slatton explains more.
Police dashcam video released today shows what happened on May 24th when Crystal police officers responded to a 911 call of a man with a gun in Bassett Creek Park.
Put your hands up and drop it! Drop it! Drop the gun!
For just over a minute, officers yelled for the man to drop the gun. Then one officer moved in with a beanbag gun to fire shots. But when the suspect pointed his gun at officers, they opened fire. 18-year-old Khalil Thompson was hit. His injuries kept him in the hospital for 6 weeks. A report from the Hennepin County Attorney's Office reveals Thompson had a history of mental illness, with suicidal reports going back to 2015. At least 4 times records state he wanted death by police. One of those times, Thompson lured police by calling 911 to report a man with an axe. Police talked Thompson into dropping the axe. About 3 years later, this past May, nearly the same incident happened again, but with a very grave outcome.
Mr. Thompson's family had worked extensively with him. He had been on a wide variety of treatments. Some of them he'd come out, he was better, and then he would fall off again.
Days before the shooting, Thompson was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and had been living in shelters and with friends. The report says he stole an airsoft BB gun from one of those friends and painted the orange tip to make it look like a handgun. Then the report says he called police to the park.
We believe this is a justified use of deadly force. Mr. Thompson had a replica gun for which he had painted over the red part of the barrel.
Thompson's mother did not respond to our request for an interview, but did post a Facebook Live video after the news was released.
I get a phone call that the charges were dropped against the police that shot my son. I'm not surprised, but that doesn't mean it doesn't make me angry.
I feel very badly for his family who've really struggled. Ironically, we understand he's doing quite well now, and we're thankful for that.
All 4 officers have been on paid administrative leave, and Mike and Alex, there's a ton of information out there on this case. The complete report, including the 911 calls, the dash cam video, that's all on the Hennepin County Attorney's website.
All right. Thank you,
Thanks
Shannon.
very much, Shannon. The Crystal Police case initially drew protests from people who entered Crystal City Hall demanding justice for Khalil Thompson. Khalil's mother. It included Khalil's mother, who wondered why something more couldn't have been done to prevent the shooting when it was known to police that her son did have a history of mental illness. The night before the shooting, a Crystal police sergeant met with Khalil. His friends called police, concerned that Khalil was suicidal. Khalil had shown the officer medical records that he received treatment in California for a mental illness and that he was taking medications. The BCA report says Khalil told the officer he was okay and did not need help.
A Wayzata high school student is accused of trading and distributing child pornography through email and social media. Wayzata High School Principal Scott Gengler sent out a letter to parents regarding the incident. Gengler says no other students are believed to have been harmed or involved, and he says counselors and social workers were made available today for anyone needing assistance. The criminal complaint says 18-year-old Alec Cotter is charged with 13 felony counts. Investigators say some of the images distributed involved children as young as 6 years old. The investigation into Cotter started about 1.5 years ago.
Charges are now filed in a Brooklyn Park shooting case that left a woman with serious injuries. Shalimar Allen is charged with first-degree assault and domestic abuse. Police arrested Allen several hours after he fled the scene. Court records show Allen has a history of drunken driving, fleeing police, and assault. Crystal police are asking parents to carefully check their children's Halloween candy.
Now, the warning comes after several sharp objects were found in trick-or-treat bags, including at least 2 cases in Crystal. And one of the incidents happened in this Welcome Park neighborhood. A 9-year-old girl went trick-or-treating with a group of friends, and when she got home, she dumped her bag out, and scattered among the goodies were several nails and other sharp objects.
Well, it's really disturbing. Halloween is kind of the one day a year that you allow your kids to go up to random strangers' house and ask for food, and this is a great neighborhood, great people, and it's just disturbing to think that somebody would be intentionally out to hurt our kids.
These incidents don't happen too frequently. It's pretty rare that they'll happen. This year we've only had 2 reports of foreign objects found in any of the candy from Halloween trick-or-treating.
Police don't have any suspects, but they encourage people to contact them if they see anything suspicious in Halloween candy.
There is a word of caution for drivers this time of year. Watch out for deer on the highway. Deer can surprise drivers anywhere, including in the suburbs. Even the State Patrol is not immune. This cruiser was damaged in a crash in September. The trooper wasn't hurt in the case, but in the past 5 years, 21 people have been killed in deer crashes. Officials say November is the most dangerous month, with the combination of increased deer movement and fewer hours of daylight.
You will see deer traveling in groups. Sometimes they cross the road. If you see one deer, you should immediately take your foot off the gas and slow down, because there could be other deer that are going to be crossing the road. And wear your seatbelt. There are times where you can't even move out of the way. The deer is just in your path.
In Brooklyn Park, there have been fewer crashes with deer since controlled hunts started 6 years ago.
Work is underway to renovate an office and warehouse to create new space for Golden Valley-based PRISM. The nonprofit will move next spring from its current location to the new space on Golden Valley Road. They'll join the Jewish Family and Children's Services under the same roof. PRISM officials say it's an example of how nonprofits can share resources.
We know that in this new space, it's going to be more accessible for families in the community. We're going to be able to have a larger thrift shop space, so in turn we'll support the mission of our organization. At the end of the day, it's important that folks receive services in a way that's very dignified and respectful, and we believe that in this new space we're going to be able to do that even better.
The JFC is spending $1 million to renovate the facility. PRISM provides food, clothing, and housing to people in need. Still ahead, interesting ways a Brooklyn Park Elementary School encourages students. That's next in today's School Spotlight.
And plus, the football playoffs continue Friday night. We will hear from the Champlin Park Rebels and Cooper Hawks.
But first, another possibility for a light snow mix. The next chance is Friday evening.
Edinbrook Elementary is among the largest in the Osseo district, with more than 750 students.
In today's School Spotlight, school officials say they are working to build community with those students and parents.
Good morning.
No matter the weather, the day starts with a greeting.
I ain't getting nothing today? All right, have a good one.
And high fives for students at Edinbrook Elementary.
It's just a way for us to meet folks prior to them entering the space in a welcoming, loving way, and that's really one of the backbones of who we are as a building.
At this school, Principal Aaron Kruger says it's part of how they build community.
Nice job. Raising money, I love it.
The day we were there, kids were collecting a reward for fundraising for the PTO. It was a special donut breakfast. Students had worked to get sponsors for a 3K walk. Other rewards included pizza with the principal up on the roof of their school. The principal sees it as a way to make connections.
The value of having relationships with those you serve and those that want to help you serve, there's nothing greater. It is the most critical work, I think, that I can do as a leader.
2 moms who serve as volunteers at special events like the donut breakfast say it makes a difference.
The kids definitely respond better. The kids love it. They are happy. They're willing to try new things when they have a different face, encouraging them and cheering them on to succeed.
But I always joke that I spend more time here than I do at my actual paying job, and because I just like to be involved in my kids' school.
A group called Watchdog Dads also also help. And even though dads are less likely to volunteer, it may be more important.
The other data will tell you that that's one of the most critical things we can do, is to have young men, boys that are in elementary see dads and prominent male figures around them engaged in reading, for example, or connected to doing some learning in math.
This school embraced pre-kindergarten before state funds were available to pay for it.
It's kind of a no-brainer, for us to have students come in as 4-year-olds.
Now, 70% of their students are attending at the age of 4.
I've seen huge growth. I've seen amazing growth.
Teacher Jeanette Lepore says pre-K is an important start to closing the achievement gap.
Some children have a lot of opportunities in the district, and some children have limited opportunities, and this kind of evens out the playing field. We're very based socially so that they start learning who they are in a group.
Pre-math, pre-literacy focus is so popular here, they could add more students if more funding was available.
We're a building that has a pretty large waiting list. The idea behind voluntary pre-K, specifically in Edinbrook, is we want to have Edinbrook families have an opportunity to be here.
Edinbrook also has an AVID program which encourages kids to think about college very early on. Teachers, in fact, share their college experience, and kids then write down goals for college and career. Still ahead, a story that should interest the director of this newscast will show you an event to help couples plan their wedding.
But first, Totino-Grace boys soccer team shoots for a state title. John Jacobson is in next.
It's championship day at the state soccer tournament. 3 area teams are taking aim at state titles. The Totino-Grace boys face St. Thomas Academy in the Class A final. Stevenson Lamar gets the Eagles on the board with that header. Totino grabs a 1-0 lead 8 minutes into the match. Goalie Philip Ronza helps preserve the lead. He wins the race to the ball here, kicking it away from the Cadets forward. Biggest save of the match, though, goes to Eagles defender number 16, Xavier Savard. Watch on this corner kick. He'll stop a point-blank shot. That keeps the Eagles in the lead. There's no more scoring in the game, and Lamar's goal holds up. Totino-Grace wins its first state championship in boys soccer since 2004 with a 1-0 win over St. Thomas Academy.
I was just in awe, just taking it in, winning a state championship in a $1 billion stadium, just having this moment to be in here and just be with my brothers. Like, this season, it's the longest I've ever had in my soccer career, and just being able to be with them every day and just grow, and I just feel like we just love each other, and that's just what comes out of it.
We'll have highlights of the Wayzata Stillwater Class AA Boys Final and the Maple Grove Egan AA Girls Championship Friday starting at 4 here on CCX. The prep football playoffs continue Friday night. 4 local teams are still standing. 3 of them are in the largest class, 6A. That includes the Champlin Park Rebels. The Rebels scored a convincing 28-0 win over Mounds View in the snow last Friday. It's been an up-and-down year for the injury-plagued Rebels, who finished 4-4 in the regular season. The Mounds View win was a good way to start the playoffs.
It was absolutely fun. I really enjoyed it, playing in the snow. We were we were prepared, and it was a lot of fun.
I thought we played pretty good, especially defensively we played great. Offensively, we made a lot of mistakes, but our defense bailed us out, and eventually we just punched some scores in. So it was overall pretty good, but we definitely need to get better for next week.
Touchdown. The Rebels don't have an easy task Friday. They play at top-ranked Eden Prairie, the team that eliminated them in the state semifinals last season.
It's about to be a hard-fought game. They're about to give us their best, and we'll come out and do the same.
They're a different team than they were a year ago. I also think we're a different team. I mean, they're coming off of watching us against Rosemont throwing the ball 40-some times a game. We don't throw it 40-some times a game this year. We're a different team than we were last year. So with that said, they're going to play us differently, and I'm expecting that.
Champlin Park plays at Eden Prairie Friday night at 7 o'clock. Cooper is aiming at a second trip to the state football playoffs in school history. The Hawks meet St. Louis Park in the Section 5-5A title game Friday night. The Hawks beat Spring Lake Park 23-0 last Saturday in the semifinals to improve to 9-0 this season. was a solid four-quarter performance, something the Hawks appreciated after having some slow starts this fall.
Defensive-wise, we played good, no points. We're being disciplined. We got to play the same way this week. We're going against a very good team, so it's going to be a hard match.
Defensively, giving up no points, that's something we just really give a high value to here at Cooper. Not giving up any points is something great. And then just going offensively, I think 3 times, I believe. But no, it was a solid game, first through the fourth quarter, so it was fun.
Cooper hosts St. Louis Park, seen here against Park Center in the section semifinals. The Hawks beat the Orioles 40-17 during the regular season, but it was a game that caught Cooper's attention.
Records mean absolutely nothing. For us, it is talking about this week. What do we have to do to go 1-0, no matter who our opponent was? And lo and behold, we get St. Louis Park, who we do know started out 14-0 against us the first time, and our kids now know they better not start off slow because this is a good football team.
Quarterback Johnny Sorensen is a very key player on their team, a very mobile quarterback, so we're just going to do our job against him and their offense and make plays on defense.
Cooper and St. Louis Park play for the Section 5 title Friday at 7 o'clock in New Hope. Our CCX game crew will be on hand to bring tape-delayed coverage of the game to you. You can watch it Saturday night at 7 and Sunday at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on channels 12 and 799 and online at ccxmedia.org. Section 5-3A volleyball final tonight, Thursday at Osseo as Champlin Park meets St. Michael Albertville for the title. Mike and Alex, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Up next, a helpful opportunity for couples planning their wedding.
A preview of the Plymouth Wedding Expo when we come back.
And finally, if you're planning a wedding in the months ahead, there's an opportunity this weekend to do a little taste testing.
That's right. The city of Plymouth is holding its annual Wedding Expo at the Plymouth Creek Center on Saturday. Around 36 vendors, from photographers to bakeries and caterers, will be on hand to answer questions. For years, Plymouth and its Millennium Garden have been a popular spot to tie the knot, and the Wedding Expo provides a little more personal approach.
Vendors. Comments I get are that it's because we're a smaller vendor, we're not one of the 200 vendor showcases. People can actually talk to the vendors and get to know about their services and what they offer.
The Wedding Expo runs from 11 a.m. and 2 o'clock on Saturday. Admission is $2 in advance or $5 at the door. And as we mentioned, we have a newscast director here that just got engaged. So who knows?
Yeah.
Matt, maybe something for you.
Got a lot of details to figure out.
That's
that could help, right?
Stop over there. That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
We'll see you back here again Friday, starting at 4.